What's the biggest mistake busy people make with weight loss? You're busy, you're stressed, and you're struggling to lose weight. There's family appointments, there's events, there's work, there's so much going on, isn't it? And then we always take the back seat with our own health when all these things are happening. This is what I see over and over. And there's a few common habits that creep in when life gets hectic. Let's face it. So what are the things that you can do? I've got 3 things I'm going to talk about today. Because I see this time and time. We're living in the busiest times ever, eh? There's just always people. There's just always stuff to do. Remember the time when you used to be bored when you were younger? That doesn't happen these days. Anyway, so the first one is skipping meals and then overeating at night. I see this often. People get busy. They live off coffee. They live off coffee, stress, and then good intentions. To get this thing happening, but life, they grab a coffee in the morning, they're off, then they're so busy, they might have lunch. But I often see people, well, they say they're doing fasting, but ideally, fasting's good, but if you're fasting, doing 1 meal a day, and then you're overeating at night, that's not good. That's not good either, because people, they don't eat, they live off coffee, energy drinks, sugar, and then by the end of the day they're overeating at night because they're hungry. And then the next, so that's not really good for your liver. Your body can't prioritize sleep either. So if you're eating really late at night, your body can't prioritize sleep, so you're not having good sleep, and then this kind of cascade of things start happening. So yeah, ideally you don't want to be skipping meals and then overeating at night. The second one is just a lot of people rely on quick fixes as well too, so diet products, detox teas, extreme diets, like the soup diet, stuff like that, meal replacements, shakes. In the end, these aren't really good, like long-term either. And, in the end, you want to be stacking habits, not shortcuts. Don't take shortcuts, do habits, because it's the habits of eating well. It's the habits, all these little things that kind of, develop over time, not the quick fixes. And, there's a massive market around these things, like detox teas and, shakes and meal replacements and things like. I'm not saying that there's anything bad with that, but if you want sustainability, you've got to really kind of get into those habits, those healthy habits every day. And the third one is not planning ahead. Really, people, they're just really busy. But what I find is, people just get busy and they're not planning ahead. And it's not that the strategy isn't working. It's just that the strategy aren't working in the real world. So I find, even with myself, when I get really busy, I've got to have my non-negotiables, my habits change a little bit. So I've got to kind of be always working on. I think that's the trickiest part, is actually when life hits, and just not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Now that could probably be another thing altogether, because what happens is people throw the baby out with the bathwater and then they fall back to their worst practice habits. But really, you can keep little habits going, until you kind of get through the murky water or the intensity of what's life is offering you right now, and then you can kind of go, pull things back and then keep moving. So, but I find the habits are in the end, the habits are the thing. But then if you can't do everything, all the habits, then you've got to kind of just adjust those habits as life gets busy and hectic. But you don't know these things unless you're living and breathing it. And I do live and breathe it, but also I like to teach that as well too. And because people are unaware of these things. But yeah, are you tired of, starting the new thing on Monday? Or do you just want a simple approach? Because I can certainly help you with that. The program that we run, is a real food program with just some walking, actually. Not a lot of exercise needed. Some real food, just some walking, and you can implement that into a really busy lifestyle. So just reach out if you want. So have a great week. We'll see you soon.